Nice and tall. Adjust your buttocks flush so that you are sitting squarely on both sit bones.
Now,
Feel the sides of your torso are lengthening symmetrically, even though the legs aren't symmetrical. Now, there's a reason why we do the things that we do. It's a big part of the Iyengar yoga teaching is do this to do that. We're taught not to just give an instruction, but to understand why we're giving that instruction, you know. And some instructions do several things, right? Press into your heel to straighten your knee, press into your heel to stabilize your pose, those sorts of things. So as you adjust here, it's to find that symmetry in the sides. You don't want to be sitting crooked if you can avoid it. Roll your arm bones back to open up your chest. Let your tailbone come slightly forward, not a huge amount, but just slightly forward, and let your abdomen move back so you feel that space in your lower back. And then when you lift up towards the ceiling, let it be this entire lower rim of the rib cage, the front and the back lifts up. Sometimes we just kind of push the back ribs towards the front ribs, and then we feel a stretch here, and we think, oh, I'm lengthening. But that's not really lengthening. That's stretching the front.
good dog. Good dog. Right over left.
Level your chin parallel to the floor. Close your eyes. Bring your hands up at chest level. And then as you bring the hands up, let the fingers point forward just a little bit so that you can feel the upper arm bones turn out and you can maintain that openness across the chest. Take a nice deep breath in. Maitri Karuna Mudita Dakshinam Sukha Dukkha Punya Punya Vishayanam Bhavanata Chitta Prasaranam Arayam. With an inhalation, reestablish your posture. And then on an exhalation, when you're ready, bow your head slightly forward, then down, so you keep the openness in the throat. Surrender your head to your heart. Release your hands to your thighs, palms up. And slowly raise your head. Slowly open your eyes. Let's do the opposite cross of the leg. And twist to your right. Pull the navel back, turn the navel. Roll that right shoulder especially back to open up that right side of the chest. And twist to the other side, navel back, keep the lower back long, and then turn at the navel. Twists are for your lower back. So you have to actually turn the lower back. The chest and the head turn easily. The lower back's a little harder, so you have to start there. And then come back to center. We'll take Adho Mukha Virasana, and then we're going to do the Parsva Adho Mukha Virasana. So if you need padding for your shins because of stiff ankles, open up a blanket and put it under your shins. Let your toes hang off. If you need height between the sit bones and the heels, because of knees, take your height. And then remember that if you add height under your shins or if you add height between the sit bones and the heels, you might need to add height under your head. When you come down, you don't want to have to push your head down to the floor. You want the floor to just be there to support the head. So have height if you need height under the head. And then just peek down because it's really hard for me to see on cameras. Make sure your knees are in line with each other, that you don't have one way far forward than the other one. And Laura, you can maybe go a little wider between your knees so you have space to come, yeah. Right, and then start to crawl your hands forward. And as you come forward, keep your sit bones down onto your heels. So you have to push backwards with your hands. And you're lengthening. Look forward as you come down. When you pull that chin forward, it helps to bring the upper back in. You don't want to round that upper back towards the ceiling, which is why some of us need height under the head. Okay, because if the head drops below that kind of neutral line of the spine, then you may see that rounding of the upper back. So if you need height, take height. Push with your hands and take your hip creases way back so you're lengthening through the sides of your torso. Take a couple of nice deep breaths here. Crawl one hand forward and feel the length come to that side, and then crawl the other hand forward. But then push to take the sit bones back down. So you're anchoring one end of your pose while you're working on extending the other. And then bring your hands back by your knees. Press with your hands to come up. Okay, and you're not twisting. You're just out toward your right side. Right. And then come forward into Parsva Adho Mukha Virasana. Now for this one, I do need height under my head, so I just fold my opposite arm or the same arm as that bent knee, and I just rest my head onto my fist. You could put a block down there if you want to. And you're going to crawl that left arm as far away from you as you can. You're really feeling a stretch across that left side. Not so much trying to twist and turn to the right, but you definitely want to feel that that left side is moving down towards the floor, that it's not raising up. And just keep inching that hand away from you, lengthening that left side. And then bring the hands back by the knee, press to sit up, and you'll turn towards your left leg. Crawl that right arm forward. Support your head if you need to. Your sit bone may get a little bit light. That's okay, but you still want it to be headed down. You don't want to just feel like everything is lifting up and all the weight's going into the left sit bone. You have to turn that right side down towards the floor just a little bit. Crawl that right arm away from you. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen that right side. Lulu.
Let me turn her, mute me.
I'm going to mute you.
Okay, sorry.
I want to play. Riley's getting jealous. All right, walk your hands back by your knees. Press into your hands to come up. And then come forward into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. Pull back at the tops of your thighs as you press forward through your arms. Find that length in the sides. And here is another place. You draw that ankle back slightly because you don't want this to be an arch in your lower back. And right now we're not going for an arch in the upper back either, but over time you start to work on getting the head to the floor and you'll have more of a back bend in the upper back. Abdomen in now though, length in the lower back. And then step your right foot forward, step your left foot forward, come to Uttanasana. Support your hands if you need to. It can be up on a block or a stack of blankets or just back onto your shin. And then bring your hands onto your hips and inhale and come up. Okay, if you are taking Sirsasana headstand, then you can go and get yourself ready for Sirsasana. We're going to do Sirsasana and then the Parsva and the Parivrttaikapada again today. If you're not, then you'll take your Supta Pada Koundinyasana once again with a block under your shoulder blade. So you'll need a stack of blankets and a block and a strap or something that you can make height for your head. Right. And then your block will go flat like so. Right, so I'm just making kind of a T shape with my blankets and my block. The block is touching the blanket. You can do the loop if you want to do the loop in the strap, or you can just hold the strap over. All right, so when you lay down, that block is under your shoulder blade. You scoot so that the tops of the shoulders touch the edge of the blanket. They're not up on the blanket. And then you tuck the shoulder blades towards the waist. Okay, and you can pull the feet in as close as you would like. All right, your arms can stay down by your sides, or you can take the arms up over the head. All right, that's your choice. So those of you not head standing, take the Supta Pada Koundinyasana. If you are head standing, you can go to the wall if you would like. I'm going to go to the wall for both of these today, since we're learning. We're taking the Parsva Sirsasana first. Being close to the wall, my knuckles have to graze the wall. All right, and the crown of the head, of course, is on the floor. Now, it's hard to come up with two legs when you're that close to the wall, so you don't have to. So y'all can go ahead and come up in Sirsasana. Press the wrists and press the shoulders and make the shoulder blades lift. Roll the fronts of the thighs in and take the buttocks up. Now kind of pull your toes down a little bit as you reach up through your heels and the inner edges of your feet. And remember, we're not turning around the right heel. We're turning around the space that's in between the feet. So squeeze those legs together and reach up right there in between the feet. Press firmly down into your wrist and your forearms to get the shoulder blades to lift. And then you're turning, take that outer left hip and turn it, let the right outer edge of the foot come against the wall. But the right heel has to slide over to the left just a little bit.
because it's the space between the feet that's turning around. Pull your navel back so you keep space in the lower back and maintain that pressure in the forearms. Keep the shoulder blades lifted. Take a big deep breath in, and then on the exhalation, turn the belly any amount more. And then come back to center. And we'll do the other side. Press the wrist, lift the shoulder blades. Bring the navel back, lift the buttocks. And now maintain that press in the forearms so you don't lose the shoulder blades. And turn the right hip around to the left. Navel back. Outer edge of the left foot comes against the wall. Reach up through your legs. Take a big deep breath in. And then on an exhalation, turn that abdomen any amount more. Navel back. Come back to center. Okay, now press the wrist, lift the shoulder blades. Separate your legs just a little bit and then bring them back together firmly. From the outside in, feel that energy in your legs. Navel back, turn the left hip to the right. Outer edge of the right foot can be on the wall. Navel back. Reach up through the legs as you press down into your wrist. Come back to center. Separate the legs. As you press into your forearms, outer legs to the inner legs, bring the legs together, and then draw the navel back and turn. Right hip to left hip. Reach up through the legs, abdomen back, buttocks up. Take a big deep breath in, and on an exhalation, turn some more. Come back to center. Be in your Sirsasana, and then slowly step one leg down, other leg down, come down and rest. All right, those of you that are in Supta Pada Koundinyasana, press with your hands, lift with your chest to come up, and straighten your legs. And then what I want you to do is I want you to get rid of your blankets. Although if you need one blanket under your shoulders, you can use it. You're now going to take Setubandha. Press it to your feet, lift your hips, and bring the block underneath your sacrum. All right, so you'll be in Setubandha while we work on Parivrttaikapada. All right, so I think everybody that did this, that's doing headstand today, did this on Tuesday, but let me just show from the side really quick here. You're going to pull your blanket, if you're comfortable with it, you're going to pull your blanket about a foot away from the wall. All right, so about a little more than half a shin bone distance. So that when you bend your knee, you're still touching the wall. All right, and you'll come up with a bent leg so that the wall is there to catch you. Your hands will still be close to that edge of the blanket, just like when you were at the wall. And when you come up, if you come up with a bent leg, you'll touch the wall and you'll feel stable. Okay, and then the left leg will be slightly forward, and the right leg, you're going to put the heel on the wall, and then you're going to slide the heel up the wall to straighten the leg. All right, and then you see my buttocks are kind of dropping, so I'm going to pull the buttocks up, the navel back, and really extend through the legs. And then it's just Parsva Sirsasana again. So if you're comfortable twisting, then you move the left hip over to the right. And you try not to move the legs. Try to keep them at that same orientation. I'm against the wall, so I can't turn them. All right? But then we'll do the opposite side. I'll turn so I can see you. Now, if you're not comfortable coming up into the middle of the room yet, that's fine. You can be at the wall and you can twist and then separate the legs. If I remember right, though, everybody was fine coming up. All right, so let's go up again. Take that right foot to the wall. Good. Let your left leg be slightly forward. Okay, but it's not sloppy. There's an extension. You're trying to reach it back to touch something. All right, and then with your right heel, slide that right heel up the wall forcefully. So you're really flexing the feet and really extending through the inner edges of the feet. Tighten up your knees, lift your buttocks and draw your navel back. Now be firm in your forearms and your wrists and turn the left hip to the right. Really be firm in your forearms and wrists. Keep the shoulder blades lifted. Extend through the legs. Okay, buttocks up, navel back, deep breath in, and then on an exhalation, turn. Come back to center. Put your right toes on the wall. Put your left toes on the wall. Those of you that are in Setu Bandha, make sure your toes are in, your heels are out. And there's pressure on the inner edges of your feet. All right, right leg comes slightly forward. Left heel is on the wall. And you're going to slide that left heel up the wall. Straighten the legs, tighten the kneecap. Press into the forearms and the wrists and lift your shoulder blades. Now, if you're comfortable taking that left heel off the wall, turn the right hip to the left. Try not to move your legs at all so they stay symmetrical. We'll work on the distance between the legs over time. And really, they're not much wider than this. Navel back, buttocks up, extend through those legs. Take a big deep breath in and exhale, turn some more. Come back to center. Left toes touch the wall, right toes touch the wall. And then take one leg over, all the way down to the floor. Other leg will follow. Come down and rest. If you're in Setu Bandha, press into your feet, lift your hips, take your block out. Come down and rest. You can draw your knees in towards your chest or straighten your legs. And then everybody press with your hands, roll to your side, whatever you need to do to come up. I'm blanking on what comes next, but I wrote it down. Don't have to make it up. Oh, the back bends. Yay, the back bends come next. All right, if you want some padding on the floor because it's cold or hard or both, you can open up a blanket for a little bit of padding. I'm going to put mine across the mat rather than along the mat so that when we do the Parsva Dhanurasana, I have a little padding for my shoulder. So I'm going to take mine like this. Remember that the most important action in your belly back bends is the fronts of the thighs turn in towards each other. So when you lay down, look at my feet here. When you lay down, when the fronts of the thighs are turned in, it feels natural for the toes to be pointed towards each other. It's not the lay down with the toes pointed out, all right? Fronts of the thighs are in, backs of the thighs are out, and then the tops of the buttocks are moving down towards the heels. So we're creating a width across the lower back and a length across the lower back. Lay down onto your belly. We're taking Salabhasana, locust pose first. So the blanket kind of needs to be under your lower ribs and your pelvis and hips, so it pads them. Take your toe prints and put your toe prints down onto the floor. So curl the toes under, join the feet somewhat, and roll the fronts of the thighs in. So if you press down into your toes, it'll lift your legs up, and then you can turn the fronts of the thighs in. Then as you point the toes back, keep the fronts of the thighs turned in, but reach back through your legs. So you feel this space right here, right at your hip crease, open up a little bit more. So you're reaching your legs back towards the back wall. Toenails are on the floor now. If you can, bring your legs together. They may separate in the pose, but bring them together. Now place your hands onto the sticky mat, and you're going to kind of pull your hands back as you try to bring your chest forward just a little bit. Just bring the side of the navel forward. You feel a little bit thinner on the floor there. So you're just lengthening that back a little bit more. Okay, now roll the fronts of the thighs towards each other. Strongly move the buttocks towards your heels. You start to feel a little bit of a grip right there where the buttock meets the hamstring. Arms are along your sides with the palms facing the ceiling. And now roll your arm bones. You see how they're dropping down towards the floor. Roll your arm bones back. Your chest will actually lift up some just from the roll of the arm. And then reach back through your legs, reach back through your arms, and start to lift. Go just above your knee and lift that up. Right at your sternum bone, lift up. Buttocks towards the heels. Lift up into Salabhasana. Thighs up, chest up. Reach back through the arms and the legs. And release. We're going to do 2 of each of these today. And I'm done giving super long, detailed instructions. All right, so roll the fronts of the thighs in, backs of the thighs out, lengthen the fronts of both legs. Arms by your side, roll your arm bones up towards the ceiling. Now reach back through your feet. Take the buttocks towards your heels and lift. Lift your legs. Reach back through your fingertips and really roll the arm bones back and lift your chest. Lift up. Don't let your eyes harden. Don't let your jaw clench. Find air and release. All right, Makarasana, crocodile pose. Watch up here for just a moment. We talked a little bit about this last week. The hands come behind the head. The elbows aren't way forward like Sirsasana, but they're not way back either. All right, there's a happy medium. Get to be happy. Sukha. And then you reach from the armpit to the elbow up. You can even see how that arches that upper back for me. All right, so that's the action that you want to have. It's not so much a pulling back of the elbows. All right, it really is a lifting up. So set yourself up once again like you're in Salabhasana. Lay down onto your blanket. Roll the fronts of the thighs in, backs of the thighs out. Lengthen the legs. Pull yourself forward. Make that belly feel thinner on the mat. And as you reach back through your legs, take your buttocks toward your heels. Now place your hands onto the back of your head. And you're going to lift your head into your hands. Don't push your hands into your head. right? Lift your head up into your hands, lift your legs, and reach up from the armpit to the elbow. Reach up, lift the thighs, lift the chest. Exhale and release. Ooh, that one's a bear. My crocodile is not a very vicious crocodile. It's a lazy crocodile. Roll the fronts of the thighs in. Reach the legs back. Y'all know I just have a running dialogue with myself during these classes, right? Y'all are all muted. I just talk. Place your hands onto the back of your head. Reach back through your legs, buttocks toward your heels, and then lift from the armpit to the elbow. Lift your chest up. Lift the thighs. Don't let the eyeballs pop out of your head. Soften your jaw. Strengthen that lower back. And release. Rest. Okay, now we're going to take Dhanurasana. The beauty of Dhanurasana is we finally touch the hands to the feet, and we have a little bit more leverage. We're going to combine Dhanurasana and Parsva Dhanurasana. So that if you don't have a Parsva Dhanurasana, then just repeat Dhanurasana. Watch here briefly so we're all on the same page, all right? Dhanurasana, we catch the outer ankles, not the inner ankles. So you're just come from your Salabhasana and catch the outer ankle. Now we still want those thighs turned in. So I'm still reaching back through the knees and turning the thighs in. But now I can use the arms and the legs together to help me lift. Okay, and then to turn to the right and look to the left and roll onto my right side. This is a shoulder opener, right? And then to come back, I look down, kind of pull with that right side and look to the left. Now here, look, it's not this. I'm not pulling my knees towards my chest, heels to my buttocks. I'm staying in Dhanurasana, right? Those shin bones are moving back and the tailbone is moving in. And then I come back to one more Dhanurasana. Okay? And release. If you can't get the roll today, it's fine. Just stay in the initial pose. Okay, so reach back and catch the outer ankles. And then you have to get those thighs turned in. So pick up each knee, reach it back, turn in the thigh. Buttocks towards the heels. And then push back with your shins. So you start to feel your chest lift, yes. And then start to pull up on your feet to lift your thighs. You kind of roll forward more onto your stomach than you don't stay on your abdomen. Okay, now look to your left, and with your left hand kind of lift up and you'll roll to your right. Press that right shoulder down and look up at the ceiling. You can't get turned, that's okay. Just stay in the Dhanurasana. Press the shin bones away from you and keep your tailbone in. Now turn your head down towards the floor. Pull with the right arm a little bit more. When you get back up, look to your left. Turn to your, look to your right, turn to your left. Uh-oh. Press that left shoulder down, look up towards the ceiling, shin bones back. Everybody, shin bones back, even if you're still in Dhanurasana. And then look down towards the floor, pull with that left arm. Dhanurasana, one last time, Dhanurasana, there we go. And then release and rest. Strong backs, folks, we gotta have strong backs. Equanimity, remember, is having an open and soft front, but a strong, flexible back. Okay. Bhujangasana then. Bhujangasana, I think, is a little bit easier. You have to have sticky mat. You can still have your blanket to pad your hips and your pelvis, but you have to have sticky mat for your hands. So make sure you've got plenty of sticky mat out in front of you. We'll start here just in this baby cobra pose. Still all the same stuff with the legs. So toe prints down, roll the fronts of the thighs in, reach the legs back, lengthen. Try to keep the legs joined. Some of you, if you've got a lower back, if it pains in Bhujangasana, you can separate the feet a little bit because that'll give you a little more space in that lower back. But if you can join the legs, it's helpful. Place your elbows right underneath your shoulders, palms down. Now, what I want you to get comfortable with here is that you don't sink down into your arms. You see how my shoulders, I have no neck. I just have a shoulder and a head, right? You want to press down into those forearms and lift so the shoulders protract just a little bit. The shoulders protract and you're lifted up. And you reach back through the feet and you take the tops of the buttocks towards the heels. Okay, and you're lifting the navel in. Okay, this is just your baby cobra. It's not too bad. Right? I say it's not too bad, but if you've got lower back issues, this can be tough right here. Now you're welcome to stay here if you need to. Okay, but know that this is just a first stage. All right, come back down. We're going to start with the hands well in front of the shoulders. So next to your face, place your palm next to your face. And bring the elbows in as close as they'll go. You'll feel a little cramped laying here on the floor. Okay, thighs are in, reach back through the legs. Press the tops of the toes down into the floor. Take the buttocks towards the heels. Now look forward, and right now, before you come up, move your shoulder blades towards your waist. You'll end up in a little bit of a baby cobra. Okay, and then start to push forward with your hands as you lift your chest and eventually start to feel like you're coiling the chest. The elbows don't straighten. They stay bent and they roll in towards each other. Keep the shoulder blades down. Buttocks towards the heels. Lift up. Try to lift that navel up so you feel space in your lower back. Lift your chin and bring your upper back in. And then exhale, come down to your forearms and back down to your forehead rest. If you're feeling anything at all in your lower back, you've got to examine what you're doing with your buttocks and your tailbone and your navel. All right? This part of this really is to learn to lengthen the lower back and coil the upper back, because even though in a lot of those really deep back bends, it looks like all the bend is happening at the lower back, it's not. So you've got to learn to find that length and space in the lower back. Now, if that was plenty for you, keep your hands where they were, by your face. Those of you that want a little more work, bring your hands back closer to your shoulders. This is going to force a deeper coil in the chest. Fronts of the thighs are in, reach back to the legs, tops of the buttocks towards the heels. Okay, and take a deep inhalation. And with an exhalation, press into your hands and come up. Keep the elbows bent. Squeeze the elbows in towards your side. And then ask, what am I doing with my legs? Reach back through the legs. Press those tops of the feet down and really take that tailbone in. Tops of the buttocks towards the heels. Okay, now if you're letting your belly just sink to the floor, you're going to feel that in your lower back. So draw that navel in and up. And lift your chin up. Shoulder blades down. Yes. And then with an exhalation, release. Hey, Gabor, can you tilt your camera down just a little bit? And then everybody get 2 blocks. You don't need your blanket anymore. You just need your 2 blocks. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Blocks. We're going to lay down on our belly to measure, but then we're going to come from the top down. Because coming up from the floor with the blocks under the hands is a little hard and you don't get as good form. So block on either side of the mat and you're going to lay down in between those blocks. And you want to be able to position your hands. Well, I got to come forward a little bit so my toes are on the mat. You want to be able to position your hand on top of that block so that your forearm bone is perpendicular to the floor. So the hand is way back by the lower rib cage. All right, so you want both of those. That's how you want both hands. Okay, and then you're going to curl your toes way under. They can be apart a little bit. That's fine. Curl your toes way under. And then drop your knees and press with your hands to come up. Feels really close, doesn't it? All right, then you're going to come up to your plank. Okay, lift and tighten those inner knees. And then we're going to lower the pelvis, but we're not just dropping it down, we're also bringing it forward. So you roll to the tips of your toes. Those of you that can roll over your toes, you can roll over your toes and come to toenails. And then be in Bhujangasana again. Press into those feet, lift the inner knees, tailbone forward. Look up. And to come out, drop your knees and come back. Okay. In Ardha Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog pose is what this is. The chest ultimately is on that side of the upper arms, right? Most of us today look like this, myself included. Ultimately, it's like this, right? Chest is way in front of the arms. I mean, if you just sit there and do that, you can do that, right? So what we're gonna do here, just watch me real quick. Once the arms are straight, it's hard to do anything with them. So we're gonna go to that soft elbow again. Squeeze the elbows in towards the side and roll the arm bones back and then re-straighten. So it'll look something like this. You're going to come to that upward facing dog position. Okay, but then soften the elbows. You can put the knees down, soften the elbows and squeeze them in. Now you see where my chest is. Okay, and then I can lift back up and straighten the elbows. Okay, try it. Think about getting your chest beyond your arms. Or think of getting your arms behind your chest. Kind of, that's more the mentality, arms behind the chest. All right, so take your plank. And then lower your hips. Don't lower your shoulders. Lower your hips and bring them forward. And then push your buttocks forward. You can roll over the toes or just walk the toes forward if you want to. And then you can put your knees down. Drop your knees to the floor for a moment. Bend your elbows. Just a little bit. And then squeeze them in towards your sides. Look up and lift that upper back. Yes. Then press back into your feet and tighten up your kneecaps again. Press into your hands and tighten up your elbows again. Yes, straighten your knees now, up off the floor, thighs up off the floor. And then exhale, knees down, press back. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. All right, we're done with those. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Place your hands, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Where's Lulu? Oh, she went. She got bored. She got bored. Riley's asleep. Really draw that abdomen in so you find that length in the lower back. You realize how much that lower back was moving in when you finally do that first forward bend after back bend. Like, oh goodness. Walk your hands and feet together. And inhale and come out. All right. If it's easy to go to a wall, go to a wall. If it is not easy to take the short edge of your mat to a wall, then you can stay in the middle of the room. Or Supta, Padangusthasana, the cycle, the full cycle. You can use a strap if you want. You can also hold your toe or hold the outer foot. Let me show real quick everything that we're going to do, and then we'll go through it together. All right, so if you want to use the strap will go over the front edge of the heel. All right, so we're going to go through them in this order. We're going to go around the foot to Supta Padangusthasana 1. Then we'll come to the bent knee version. So abdominal to take all that out of the lower back. And then we'll come up, we'll go out to the side for the lateral version. Come back up and switch hands. So it'll be the opposite hand. And we'll roll over into the revolved version, the full revolved version, where the hip comes up. Okay? That's the order to take them. So if you're at the wall, really use the wall. Scoot close, a little too close. Join the feet, make sure the space between the feet is in line with the midline of the torso, and then push your heels so you feel the sticky mat catch the shoulder blades in the buttocks. And you feel your legs are really well pinned against the wall. And if you feel like when you lay down here, your head tips way back, you're welcome to put a blanket behind your head. All right, bend your right knee in towards your chest, give it a little bit of a hug. And then take the strap around the front edge of the heel or catch your toe. Press into your left heel and then extend up through your right leg. Straighten both legs completely. Move the fronts of the thighs to the backs of the thighs. So the left thigh moves down towards the floor. The right thigh moves away from your torso, back towards the left foot. From the outer edge of your right foot, move down towards the hip. So you feel that femur bone coming into the socket. Switch to a strap. Turn the inner elbow towards your nose. So you feel the right shoulder blade move towards your waist. And then if you'd like, you can start to bring that right shoulder down towards the floor. That intensifies the work in the leg. So if you can't do that and keep the leg straight, you can pulse a little bit, right? Or you just stay with the shoulder up. Now the bent knee version. Bend the right knee and take the right foot across to the left side of your torso. Don't let go of the strap. Hold that strap. Okay, you have to contract the abdominal muscles. If you want to bend the left knee, you may. Right? Pubis to navel, sternum bone to navel, lift up. Get your chest way up, shoulder blades off the floor. Then you either hook the elbow around the ankle or you can hold with your hand. Right? And then the right arm goes behind the head. Okay, and that right foot moves towards your left shoulder blade, towards your left shoulder as the knee moves away. Create that external rotation in the hip. Eyeball your chest just a moment. You have to lift that outer right arm up and lift the right side of your chest. And then maybe you can straighten the left leg. This is an abdominal pose. Lift up. Manusha, you're just laying on the floor. You got to use your abdominal muscles. Okay, it's Friday. Everybody's like, I'm laying on the floor today. Straighten your right leg back up. Extend your left arm. I promise it's all restorative next week. I promise. Take the right leg out to the side. Turn the belly to the left. It's been a rough January. Turn the belly to the left, keep the left thigh down, keep the left shoulder down. And the turning of the belly helps that. And pull from that outer right foot to keep the femur in. And you'll notice when you pull that right leg in, it contracts the gluteal muscles, gluteus medius in particular. And when that right buttock gets a little bit thicker, it drops the left side down. All right, and then with an inhalation, bring the leg back up. Reach up with your left arm now to catch the strap. Now, the left foot turns. All right, the outer edge of the left foot goes down towards the floor. Don't try to keep it straight up. Turn that outer left foot down. Take the right leg across to the left, but turn the belly back to the right. You want to keep your right shoulder down. And you're not taking the foot all the way to the floor. All right, it has to stay up. You can bend the left elbow, but the foot stays the height of the hip. Don't over stretch here. And really pull those femur bones back towards the hips. Pack those hips. Turn the belly to the right. Reach out through that right arm, right shoulder down. And then start to turn your left toes back up towards the ceiling. Bring the right leg back up. Catch the strap with the right hand. And then bend the right knee. Straighten the right leg. And then just observe the difference in the two sides. I feel like my right leg has some heaviness to it. It's closer to the floor. The left leg feels fluffy. All right, reset yourself up. Scoot in towards the wall a bit. Midline of the feet, right in line with the midline of the torso. Press the heels. And now we're going to do the fluffy leg. It's not going to feel so good. Bend the left knee in towards the chest. Take the strap around the left foot. And then straighten the left leg. You may hear creaking, maybe some moaning and groaning. It'll be better here in just a minute. Just a minute, give me a minute. Press the fronts of the thighs to the backs of the thighs. Reach out through the inner feet. Outer feet move back towards the hip. Femur in. Turn that inner left elbow towards your head. That just rotates the arm, makes the shoulder blade kind of tuck in onto the rib cage. And then you can start to pull that left shoulder down towards the floor. Maybe you need to pulse it. You want the leg to stay straight. So if the leg has to bend, then you're better off staying shoulder up. All right, here we go. Abdominal pose. Bend that left knee. Take the left foot across to the right. And then contract. Lift your chest all the way up off the floor. Holding in that loop is going to help so that you keep the chest lifted. It doesn't give you as much slack. Pull the foot towards your face, move the knee away, and take the left arm behind your head. Switch sides there, yeah. There you go. All right, and then lift that left outer arm so your chest lifts. Abdomen is in, use those abdominal muscles. If you bend your right leg, you can straighten it. Yes, better, everybody. Better, 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 better. All right, and then release, we won't stay long. Come back up, take your right arm out to the side. Press that right thigh down, turn the belly to the right, let the left leg come out to the side, but pull back. So you're engaging that left buttock. Bad 80s songs come to mind. Outer foot to the outer hip. Extend through the inner legs though, so the knees stay straight. Turn that belly to the right. And with an inhalation, bring the left leg back up. Catch with your right hand. Turn the outside of the right foot down to the floor and come over to the twist. All right, you can bend your right elbow so the elbow touches the floor, but the foot stays the height of the hip. Don't let it come too far over. Pull back from the outer foot to the outer hip and turn your belly to the left. If your left shoulder is having trouble staying down, try taking your arm more towards your side and see if you can get the shoulder to come down. It feels nice in shoulder. Everybody can try it. Then you start to kind of sweep the arm back up and out. Turn that belly strongly to the left. All right, and then inhale and come back up. Turn that right toes back up. That'll help. Catch the strap in your left hand and then bend your knee. Straighten your leg. And now the fluffiness is gone. Both legs feel energized and intelligent. I would say if I was giving you a daily home practice, that this Supta Padangusthasana cycle and then Setubandha on the block would be a great daily home practice. Okay, get blocks and blankets. We're going to take a stack of blankets, and then you can even add a block on top of it if you want to for Ardha Matsyendrasana. We're going to do a modified version of Ardha Matsyendrasana. That's half Matsyendrasana. Matsyendra was a stage. All the twists, you'll notice, they're named after stages. Bhujangasana, Matsyendrasana, Parivrttaikapada, Koundinyasana. Those are all people. Or legends, maybe. I don't know if they were real. All right, so you're just going to make a stack, short edge forward. And then if you need even more height, you can use a bolster or you can put a block up on that. That's fine. If you feel like you need more height. We're taking the modified version here just so we can get a good twist. So sit up on the edge of the blanket. And then let's see, I'm going to want you to twist to your right first. So take your left leg and cross your left leg under your right one. So the foot's way off to the side of the blanket. You have to scoot yourself over, scoot yourself over. And then this knee here can move more across the midline. That's why we did that Parivrtta work, so that you can have this outer leg can have some flexibility. And you're going to cross the right leg over the left. So now you see, oh, now I see I have to move that knee out of the way. You want to be able to get this foot flat on the floor. Okay, and that is a big challenge in these poses where we cross the leg over, is being able to do that. So some tips. You can try a little bit more height under your buttocks to see if that pushes you forward a little bit more. All right, I have had some success with actually elevating the floor under that foot. So you can put a block. These blocks are a little bit too tall, but you can put a block or a blanket under the foot. The other thing is just to really make a tight connection here. Remember, ultimately, we're sitting on this foot and we have to balance. So crawl this foot toward the thigh and crawl the thigh back towards the foot. So you're trying to abduct your legs, right? You're actually trying to move the right leg to the right, the left leg to the left. And what ends up happening is this tight connection here between the ankle and the thigh. Right, and then hold your right knee with your left hand and take your right hand back. You feel those blankets back behind you. Try to catch the opposite side of them. All right, so I'm just taking my arm back like this and putting my palm on the opposite side of the blanket. Okay, and then press down to lift up tall, pull your navel back, and then just pull on the knee and turn the belly. Okay, and then you can lean forward a little bit, release, lean forward, hook your elbow around your knee. At any point that it gets difficult, then you can stop. You don't have to progress, all right? You stay where you are, all right? Now press down to sit up tall, and then pull with your forearm, push with your knee, and turn your belly to the right. Use that arm behind you, push into the blankets and roll the shoulder blade back. Okay, now lift your chin up and look up towards the ceiling. Okay, and then reach up through the left arm and try to hook the elbow to the outer knee. If you can't get there, then come back to hooking this way. I want you to be able to get a good twist. It's not about getting the elbow over the knee. It's about getting a good twist. Press the elbow into the knee, draw the navel back, and twist. Okay, and then release. Switch sides. Right leg comes under. Left leg comes over. Wiggle that left foot into the thigh and then wiggle the thigh into the foot. And push them in towards each other. And then just hold the left. Got a phone call. Hold the left knee with your right hand, I think it is. Take your left arm back behind you and catch that opposite side of the blankets. Press down to sit up tall and then pull on the knee and turn the belly. Push into those blankets and roll that left shoulder back. Look up towards the ceiling with your chin. Okay, and then release and try to hook the inner elbow. If you can't hook the inner elbow, stay with the hand. All right, sit up tall, and then you'll pull on the knee with the arm, push the knee back into the arm, and turn the belly. Draw that navel back and turn it. Look up towards the ceiling. All right, and then if you can, lift up and hook the elbow to the outer knee, press the elbow into the knee, and turn even more. So you're starting to see how the different positions of the arm affect the twist. In all of them, you get a twist, right? As you progress the arm, the twist gets deeper. Look up. All right, and then release. All right. Those of you that were here on Friday or Tuesday are just dying to do this, I know. Get a couple of blocks. Get some blankets. We're going to do the same twist, slightly different. Paula, I'm not sure how this is going to feel on your knee. You're welcome to just repeat the other twist if you need to. We're taking Ardha Matsyendrasana, but we're modifying it slightly. So let's see, I'll do your same side. Rather than tucking this foot and turning it in, I'm going to put my toe prints down. Okay, now you don't have to sit back onto the heel if that's ouchy on your toes. You can stay leaning forward a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to cross my right leg over my left. And you can stay leaning into the thigh. All right, and then reach up and twist. All right, so let me show you from the other side what I'm doing over here. You've got your right leg crossed over your left first. All right, and I'm hooked. And this is all I'm doing. I'm just supporting. This is my left arm. I'm just supporting. It'll be your right arm, and your left arm will be pushed into the knee, and you'll be twisting. And the knee is pushed back into the arm. Okay, do that on both sides, best that you can. Best that you can. Twists, you know, are they're tough. They're very dependent on your body proportions. Right? If you have short arms and short leg bones, they're hard. I have a very long leg bone, so I have something to hook over. And if that's shorter for you, it's harder. But oh well, it's just harder for you. You gotta learn how to do it. Sorry, I can't give you my leg bone. All right, let's try the arm balance. I have played with this a little bit with some blocks. Let's try this with the blocks. You're going to stack up 2 blocks. This is purely optional here. Those blocks need to be on a sticky mat. Now, they really need to be about as tall as your forearm, okay? But for this first go around, we're just going to use the 2 blocks. We're not going to try to make it taller. You can try to make it taller later. So here we go. This is going to be where I'm going to ultimately put my hip. And I didn't do this yesterday. I did this a couple days ago. So now I got to try to remember how to do all this. All right, crossed over. And I'm going to lay my hip down onto these 2 blocks. Right? And this arm is crossed over. Now, the knee won't be up onto the elbow because the blocks right now, if you're just using the 2 blocks, it's going to be too low. But the elbow can push into the knee and the knee can push back. Right? So you tighten that up. And then you lay onto your blocks. And you straighten your legs. And you feel like you're in Eka Pada Koundinyasana. But you start to feel how low you have to go, how much you have to bend the elbows. Go try. So you're starting in that same position. Let me go from the side. You're starting in that same position with the toe under and the leg over. Right? And then you aim that right hip down to the block. Okay, the thigh runs kind of parallel with the blocks, and you push that elbow into the knee. And then you straighten the leg. So you start to kind of figure out how much your belly has to turn. And you start to see how much you really have to get down. It's a deep chaturanga position. Right, so then the hip comes over onto those blocks. Tuck the elbow into the arm. I'm really not on the elbow so much. I'm just pushing into it. Hands are in line with each other. Okay, and the legs come up and they straighten. Good boy. All the looks, hey Manushi, that's pretty good. Try to be up on your hands. Try to get into that chaturanga position. All right, now you can try building some height here. I found this a bit awkward. And you might even need to put the sticky mat over the blocks so the blankets don't wiggle around on you. But you can make this about as tall as your forearm. Then you can get the knee up onto the elbow. You got to know where those blocks are. So here now I can get the knee up onto the elbow. And straighten. If you're done, set up for Shavasana. If you want to try it again on both sides, you can try it again on both sides.
So if my knee's a long way from my elbow, what am I doing wrong?
I pull the elbow back. It feels really scary to pull that elbow back, but you just have to pull it back. That's one of the things that, is a fearful thing in the pose. We want to be out like this, right? But you've got to get the arm is way back here. So you could be more like this, Terry. Let this foot be forward so it's supporting you. And then you just have to pull that elbow back to the knee.
Gretchen, let's see.
Yeah?
Does the non-knee elbow, does it go on the other hip?
It can,
Okay.
but that is not the final version of the pose.
Okay.
There are some people who do this pose. They even do Parsva Baddha. I can't do it. I can't figure out how to do it. But there are some people who will do it like this and support the hip. So you can. Okay.
Very good.
You can do it that way.
Okay.
And then Shavasana. If you need to do a little bit, that was crazy twisted stuff. So if you need to do like a little Paschimottanasana, or you know what would be maybe even better because it'll release your back, is laying here. Take your legs straight up, like Urdhva Padangusthasana. And you can use a strap if you want to. That weight of the legs kind of helps to reset the sacrum. And you can be at whatever angle you want to be at. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's technically a forward bend, but it's not a huge, tight forward bend. It's Dhanurasana, but for whatever reason, it feels better this way than the other way. And then when you're ready, straighten your legs and be in Shavasana. Relax your legs, relax your arms. If your back doesn't feel terribly happy, you can bend your knees or you can put something under your knees. And that'll help to create some length in the lower back. You can put your calves up on a chair. Soften your abdomen, soften your throat. Release your jaw. Soften and quiet your ears and your eyes. Release your facial muscles, especially around your eyes, your temples. Soften your forehead and release the crown of your head. For the next 2 breaths, let all of your attention be on that breath. Hear it, feel it. Stay in Shavasana if you'd like a little bit longer Shavasana. You deserve it. But those of us that need to get on with it, on an inhalation, bend your elbows, rest your palms onto your torso. Bend your knees, reestablish the ground there under your feet. Slowly and carefully roll to your side. And then press with your arms to sit up, head low, eyes closed. Take a moment to thank yourself for coming to class and continuing your practice. And slowly raise your head. Slowly open your eyes.